Oh shit. It's Tuesday. Oh shit. It's about to be lit up in here. Who's texting? Let's see. It's time to start the show, dog. What's cracking, y'all? Finna get this shit started. Connect. I don't know why somebody's calling me right now. Y'all know damn well this show is about to start. Why you wait till 6:59 to call me? That don't even make sense. Anyway, yo, we about to get it cracking, y'all. It's the Memecle Jackson Show. I am your host, Memecle Jackson. We are live. It is Tuesday, December something, man. Was it December 3rd or some shit like that? Is it the 3rd, cuz? Yeah, December 3rd already. Man, 2019 is coming to a close, and we are lit. I'm always saying we, because there are multiple people that are a part of this. I've made that very clear. Even though you only see my face, I have to reiterate that because people were asking me the other day, they're like, who are you always talking about when you say we? I'm talking about me and the people that are on my teams. A few people, it's Cheese and Jennifer or JJ, you know, well, I don't know. Everybody has a million nicknames, but I know my people by the names that I call them. Those are my people. So, yo, we're killing it, man. We got the music playing right now. I don't know if I have like a ton of like different topics to talk about tonight, but we definitely got some good stuff that we about to get into. And we're going to revisit. I know I'm smiling in this moment. It's not funny, but we're going to revisit something that I talked about a few weeks ago about a mom, and there's suspicious circumstances around the death of her two children, excuse me. And then come to find out yesterday, she did it. And I called it. And me and a few of my other friends, we were talking about it. And we were saying that the whole shit was a setup. I said it from jump. And it was. So we're going to dive into that. But we letting this song play right now. And then I'm going to intro the show. And then we're gonna get right into it. I got to text a couple people back, man. People are hitting me up. Let's see. Anyway, all right. Man, let's get into this shit real quick. Yo, man. Let me intro the show real quick and then we'll get back to the music, man. It's your boy Memecle Jackson, and you are now tuned into the Memecle Jackson Show. We are live on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Track Talk Radio, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want to say it slow to make sure everybody hears it. Pass that information along to your friends. But hey, we're going to jump back into the music, and then we're going to get going on the show, man. What's up? Good evening. It is December 3rd, and we got a whole 2 hours worth of funny shit for y'all. It's going to be live and lit and inappropriate and all kinds of other shit. So stay tuned. Get ready to hear some Usher, maybe some Chris Brown, and then I'm going to be right back with you. Yeah. Well, they got the music playing, and we got lots of stuff, man. Sorry, I feel like I stay on my phone. It's been a wild couple of days, that's to say the least. Especially in regards to my social media accounts have started to fluff up a little bit with followers, friends, whatever people want to call them. But there's just been I've added a lot of new people to the page. We have a lot of new followers, so there's a lot more funny people. I swear, the funniest people on the planet are not the people that we actually pay to be famous. Don't get me wrong. Those MFs are funny. When you think of people like the Kevin Harts of the world, and I mean, there's a million comedians that you can name. I only named Kev because I just saw something about him on my timeline, but there are so many funny comedians, but a lot of the people that I find to be the absolute funniest people are just random ass people on the internet. And so a lot of these people, like, I started to follow them, they follow me, and then so I've just been cracking up all day, every day. So my entire timeline is flooded with comedy. And even the stuff that people are trying to be serious about, people are crushing them with comedy. I mean, I hate to say crushing, because a lot of times these people already seem like they're defeated. And I know how that goes, because I sometimes tend to feel like I'm defeated too. But one thing I learned is that it's probably not advised to put your business on social media, because people don't care. When they come to the internet is like a place, like, imagine it's just a school where you can, like, yes, there are consequences to some degree, but you can pretty much just fuck around the whole time, and it's not frowned upon. It's actually frowned upon to be the little snot-nosed teacher's pet type of MF. Like, people out here don't like that. So when you come with, like, your problems and your issues and you're on there crying, they can go in. Now, obviously, most of the people that I follow, they still have a heart. So, like, if people know that it really is serious, obviously people really band together and, like, they try to make things work. And so that's another thing I can appreciate about it, is, like, we're not all shitty humans. Like, we just enjoy laughing and just having a good ass time. But I swear, man, some of these people are so funny. And now I've posted a few memes over the last couple of days that have just gotten a significant amount of attention, and have even caused some people to, like, clash and butt heads. And so that shit was crazy. So I'm gonna talk about that tonight, because, bro, the internet is, especially my page, it's dangerous out there, bro. It's for real dangerous. So now, we're gonna let one more song play, and then as the Chris Brown phase out, I'm gonna jump back into the show. They just heard Usher, My Way. I think before that it was what was it? Future, Jerseys was playing before that. Then the whatchamacallit, the Usher, My Way, and then now it's Chris Brown. Yo, I don't know your name, but excuse me, miss, I saw you from across the room. The old school track. Whoa, hold up. Man, I had the text box open. It was just texting to somebody. I probably was basically just telling them what I'm telling y'all. Now, you better delete that shit, bro. I ain't trying to wildin'. Hold on. Somebody thinks my show's on Wednesday, and they're texting me. Fam, my show is right now. But yeah, so the internet's been crazy. We're gonna jump into that. I'm watching some sports. There might be some sports topics today, but actually the only real sports topic we have is about my man Terrell Pryor. Shout out to him, bro. He was involved in a domestic dispute. I don't know if this woman's his baby mom's or his girlfriend or wife. I don't really know his situation like that. But they got an argument. She stabbed him. And my man's like in ICU or something, or he was like the other day. Doctors say he's expected to make a full recovery, so many blessings to him. Shout out to you. But yo, fam, you're involved in a domestic dispute and end up getting stabbed, and then baby had to take her little jail photo, and she was in that motherfucker smiling like she was cool with that shit. Like, fam, you're about to go down for attempted murder, and it must have been them beating on each other, because he also got charged with something. So it's just crazy, man. Like, look, I understand y'all get caught up, y'all get emotional, but there is no reason to get so hyped up over what somebody else is doing that you want to, like, go cause them physical violence. You can end up ruining your whole life. This shit is crazy, man. She's about to go to prison behind that. And probably when you look back at it, it's going to be over some shit that probably could have just been worked out in the conversation. But these people don't have their heads screwed on right. Or they're just fooled by love, or whatever you want to call it. Something has tricked their brain into, like, telling them that they need to go do some wild boy shit, and that's unnecessary. So now you look at her, He's stabbed up in the hospital. She's going to jail probably. The whole thing is a mess. Shout out to Terrell Pryor, man. He's a pretty good football player at Ohio State. He was one of those guys that was really highly touted. People said he could have played basketball, could have played football. He chose football. He's just an okay NFL player. Nothing too spectacular. But man, I literally feel like he was just in the league last year, and now he's laid up. So thoughts and prayers are with him. Hopefully things get better for you, dog. Let's see, man. Oh, we got about 30 seconds left. We getting ready to jump into the show. And I want to admit that you got my attention. You making me want to say yo. There's a terrible version of that. But anyway, man, welcome back to the show. Hope y'all enjoyed the music, playing some old school hits today. Man, before I just turned the microphone back on, I literally was just in here talking to the camera, explaining, because one of the stories I'm talking about. We're going to just start off with this one. My man Terrell Pryor. I guess he's a former football player. I thought he was still on a team, but apparently he's not on a team. You might know him as a guy who played at Ohio State, was involved in a small little scandal over selling tattoo or jerseys in exchange for tattoos, and then he was supposed to be super duper good, and he kind of just ended up being okay. Goes to the NFL, is a little bit less than okay, but still good enough to be on some teams. It's pretty crazy, but I guess the other day he was involved in a domestic dispute with either his girlfriend, fiance, wife, or whatever. I don't know, whatever she is to him. And fam, she stabbed him. He has multiple stab wounds. So apparently I don't know if he still is as of by the time this show is airing. But last I heard, he was in the ICU. Doctors say he's expected to make a full recovery. So shout out to him. Hopefully he does heal up well and heal up strong, all that good stuff. But the crazy part is when they showed her jail photo, which shout out to you if you have a good jail photo. My jail photo is not good. And let me rephrase that, because people are going to hear that and they're like, oh my God, he went to jail. No, I did not go to jail. I'm talking about there was a situation I was involved in, and it was a self-defense thing, and the dude tried to press charges on me and my friend, so I still had to go down there and turn myself in and all that shit. So they take your picture and book you and do all that shit regardless. So no, I'm not a criminal. I'm just a person that ended up having to whoop some big nigga's ass because he wanted to get out of line. But anyway, I did not smile in my jail photo, because I feel like as a black man, that would be very irresponsible of me, especially if I'm trying to make sure that it's understood that in my situation that I was not, the aggressor. I just was defending myself, defending my friends. It is what it is. He took some blows, got knocked out. Sorry, big dog. You just couldn't roll with me like that. But this young lady, she stabs her boyfriend, husband, fiance, whatever he is to her. She stabs him multiple times. And then when they book her, she smiles in the jail photo. Fam, you're probably going to do time behind this. You can't stab people. That's not how this works. So I feel like, once again, we got to get into this whole thing where I have to remind people, listen, people are going to make their choices. You should never allow yourself to feel as though you have to react very unfavorably because of somebody else's choices. Because after they make their choice, you have the opportunity to make yours. You should never choose the stab option. That's not one that you choose. That's like hey, break this glass in case of an emergency. Whatever issues that y'all had was not an emergency to where you break the glass, pull out the knife, and stab him multiple times and then laugh about it after the fact. It's not how that goes. So, people, if the person you're with is upsetting you, take some time out. Go sit by yourself or go sit with some friends, whatever. Talk, take some deep breaths. This is normal stuff that I'm telling you. It's not anything that you haven't heard before. But think twice before you just grab the knife and then you end up on Snapped. And then I'm going to be in here laying around eating kettle corn watching your stupid ass pointing at the TV, being like, yo, look at this stupid MF being all dumb. You should have just let that shit go. It's not worth it. So, stay tuned for the Terrell Pryor episode of Snapped. That'll probably be up within the next year or so. Bro, that's going to be crazy. I need to know the details of that because I need to know why she stabbed him and why she thought that shit was funny. I can't imagine. I mean, I've had a girl try to stab me before. I talked about that on the show. That girl was my sister. But I can't imagine having a person that I'm like seeing in a romantic capacity try to stab me. That just sounds crazy. Now, I will say this. I am new to the world of Snapped. I always heard of Snapped, but I never watched the shit. I always just heard that it was, and I'm going to tell you what I was told that it was. And now I know that it is not this, but I was always told that it was just crazy white girls murdering their spouses. But that is not what Snapped is. Snapped, I mean, yes, it is that, but Snapped is so much more than that. Everybody's getting work on Snap. You got kids taking out their parents taking out their kids, their spouse. It's crazy what people are really out here doing. And sometimes it's for the pettiest shit. I look like $100,000 in insurance money. Fam, what can you really do with $100,000? It's not, I mean, yes, that is, for some people that's gonna be life changing. I don't want to diminish what $100,000 can do to so many families and stuff. But is it worth killing for? I feel like the answer is no. But Snapped is crazy. So as someone who is new to Snapped, I'm in a space where I sometimes wonder if maybe my behavior, and what I mean by that is like, sometimes I'm known to like cop an attitude with people. You know, I get a little bit, sometimes I can be a little bit rude, maybe not as considerate to people's feelings. And sometimes the people who end up becoming victims of those type of mood swings that I have, sometimes they are women. I mean, it's equal. It's probably 50-50 men and women because I don't really like people in general. But I feel like a lot of times it ends up being women. I'm getting concerned after watching multiple episodes of Snapped. I'm getting concerned that in like a decade, I'm going to end up on this show. Now, if I do, I'm hoping it's in the capacity of just being like one of the, people who gets interviewed. And I'm like, yeah, that was my homie and we went way back and I can't believe she killed him. Or I can't believe he killed her. I feel like I would end up being that type of guy. But there's also a small part of me that feels like being the victim is definitely an option for me. So maybe I need to clean up my act a little bit. So I think the goal for 2020 is just to be a little bit nicer to people. Just because you never know who's going to end up putting you on an episode of Snapped. So I'm specifically going to put my best foot forward to be nicer to people so they don't murder me. It's not because I want to be a better person. It's strictly just to avoid being murdered. So I hope everybody is cool with that. This is all about survival, man. This is what this world is. Like, the world it's not fair. It's wild. I'm just trying to make the most of it while I'm here. And one of the ways to do that is just to avoid conflict. So I'm trying to just be nice to everybody just so I don't get killed. It's not worth it. I was kind of debating if I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that story about me putting Buddy to sleep. Because now I think people are going to be like, yo, what was he doing where he had to go take a jail photo? I'm going to tell y'all. So this is what happened. This was probably right before I moved to Seattle. Probably about like a year and a half before I moved out here. So this is probably late 2013. Maybe into 2014. Yeah, I think it was 2014. But anyway, my homeboy Quizno, and I'm gonna use his nickname rather than use his full name because I don't want to put him in any type of hot water. But my man Quizno, he's a good friend of mine. Shout out to Quizzy. What's up, boy? He invites me out. So we go out. It's me, my other friend Esdo, and his cousin. So we all go out, and we go to this little spot, and it was downtown Pensacola, Florida. So when I still lived in Florida. So we go downtown. We're at this little spot, and And we see this kid, like, this is a small little area, so we know all the people. I mean, even the guy working the door is my brother's cousin, JB. And then Quizno's brother also works at the venue that we're at. So it's like everybody knows everybody. It's not a big deal. So we run into these kids that we play basketball and football with, all that type of shit. We see this one kid named Joey. Joey's a big dude. So I think at the time, I don't know what this nigga looks like now, but at the time, this guy's probably, I don't know, he's maybe like 6'5", 6'6". He's probably about 345 pounds maybe. And he could be a little bit shorter. I just remember that he's bigger than me. And I'm 6'4", standing straight up. And I feel like he was at least a couple of inches taller than me, kind of looking down at me. And he is a much bigger dude. But he's a nice guy. Soft little dude. He's not a fighter like that. And I've known this guy for years. Never had no beef with him. So it literally starts from the second that we walk in. We walk in, we see these people. They had just been like at a wedding. It's a bunch of kids that we know. Walk in, say what's up to my man. Joey, what's good? And he looks at me and he goes, man, fuck you. And I'm thinking like, oh, okay. So his homeboy comes up and he goes, no, he's just playing. He just had a little too much to drink. And like I said, I know Joey. Joey's a nice guy. I'm not taking it personally because I know that that's not even his character. He's definitely in a different headspace. Now, I will tell you, this situation occurred right when I got to that point in my life where I was like, you know what? We really got to turn it around and we got to stop engaging in physical acts of violence. And basically, it just means you got to stop fighting people. It's just not worth it anymore. And it's okay to just take the high road, do the right thing, walk the fuck away. So, Buddy says what he says. We don't pay no mind to it because we know that he's not that type of guy. We go sit down, and we were there to watch some like UFC fight. So the environment is already set up to where if you've ever been to like a sports bar, any type of place where they have UFC fights on, you see how some of the guys walk out acting. Where they gets their blood flowing and they're like, oh, I'm tough too. And like, I got hands and I can do this and I can do that. Now, I'll tell you, I'm not one of those guys because I don't know all the MMA stuff. Yes, I do have hands. I have knockout power, but like, I don't have ground game. I'm not putting people in arm bars or any type of chokes. And you just don't know who has that type of knowledge. So now at this point in my life, I'm not really trying to fight because I don't know what the other nigga knows. I only know what I know and don't know. And I don't know a lot. I'm more of just like a pow, like a couple punches and then hopefully you're done. And then if you're not, I'm going to try to just give you a couple more until you're done. But all that extra stuff, I don't have that shit. So everybody in the venue is just acting kind of, you know, they're a little bit heightened. If most people are floating around like a 5 or a 6, everybody in that motherfucker is at like an 8. Just because they're super hyped up. So apparently Joey's pissed off at my friend Quiz because Quiz called him fat on Facebook. Like a year and a half prior to us seeing them that night. And I'm saying in that amount of time, we've had this kid over at houses that we lived in where we had parties. We've played sports with him. Like, we've seen him out at dinners, like all kinds of stuff. He had 1.5 million opportunities to confront my boy and address the fact that Keith disrespected him. So, like I said, Joey was a big guy. I've been bigger at times. And like, yes, I can understand hurts your feelings when people call you fat. You get embarrassed. So, but this happened to be one of those nights where he just decided, like, yo, I got the liquor in me, I got some courage, and we're gonna try to talk our talk. And that's fine. But the problem is, my man, is that you were talking to me too. And so he approaches the table to try to call out my friend. Quiz just laughs it off because like when we walked in, everybody tried to say what's up. Everything was straight, right? I mean, yeah, he kind of cussed me out, and he didn't shake my Quizzy's hand, you know, but for the most part, we're not thinking that it's going to turn into something and it's stemming from this little situation. We have no idea. He comes up to the table, he says a couple of things. I'm like, yo, Joe, you got to chill, bro. Just go enjoy your time. Just relax. Not that serious. He walks away. He comes back again. I basically tell him the same thing. not being rude to him, just letting him know, like, look, man, like, you seem upset. You've had a little bit too much to drink. Just go have a seat. Everything's going to be cool. Because like I said, this was one of those times in life when I had reached a new place of enlightenment. I was like, look, I want to try to get away from and shake that horrible image that I'm just the guy that's always like pulling up and beating people up. Because especially in that area, unfortunately, I have that reputation. And it's over dumb shit too. So he comes back the next time, and by this time I've kind of had it. So I stand up and I'm like, yo, my man, what's your problem? I say some expletives, whatever the case may be. And even JB, like I said, JB is my brother's cousin. He comes up and he goes, yo, if y'all gonna do that, I'm gonna have to kick y'all out. So he then comes up again and then JB kicks him out. You're thinking that the problem is done. We sit there for about another 2.5 to 3 hours. Easy. We go to leave and JB says, hey, your man is out front waiting. And we got to walk down the steps to get to the sidewalk. I'm the first person down the steps. So I see my man. He's standing out there just huffing and puffing. He got a cigarette in one hand, a beer bottle in the other. And he walks up and he's trying to go at my friend. So he's literally looking over me and trying to push through me, but he's not really like giving it a lot of effort. You know how when like, you know how when you see like on NBA games and like they foul hard and the niggas start pushing, but then they know everyone's gonna break it up so nobody actually fights? This is what he was doing. He starts trying to bow up and do all this type of shit because he's trying to go at my friend. And my friend's kind of standing behind me and behind our other friends, and everybody's kind of yelling. I'm like, Joe, chill, it's not that serious, bro. Again, I'm playing the position and role of peacemaker because it's really not that serious. So in the little small town that I'm from, that's right beside Pensacola, is this little shitty ass place called Gulf Breeze. Gulf Breeze, Gulf Breeze, Florida. It's fucking garbage. All right. When you live in that town, this town is just mostly white people, not a lot of colored folks. I've explained that on the show, but basically people from other areas almost use it as like it's like kind of a slight or a slur directed at people. Like, you're from Gulf Breeze, like you're not about shit if you're from that place. That's how people outside of that area kind of acknowledge most people from that area. So my man is feeling himself, right? Liquid courage, all that shit. He then starts to direct his attention to me. He gives up on trying to fight my friend because he's not getting through me. And so he starts talking to me. He's, cussing me out, saying whatever he's saying. And then he goes, Nick, you from Gulf Breeze. Like, as if saying that implies that I'm not going to do something to you. After I'd already told him, like, bro, if you keep pushing me, I'm going to knock your big ass out. So then what he does, like I said, cigarette in one hand, beer bottle in the other hand. He gets tired of all whatever is going on, all the commotion, and he decides to raise his hand like he's going to do something. So then I two-pieced him, and I knocked his ass out. Here's where all the problems come in. See, and this is what one of my issues with a lot of people is they do this. He Mason Rudolph the situation. You start all the shit, you cause all the problems, and then when you get thumped on the head, then you start all that crying shit. So what happens to him, he gets knocked out, of course. My homeboy that was there, his cousin ends up kind of shielding him from continuing to get his ass whooped. Now, I'm somebody that once they fall on the ground, I leave them be because I'm not going to stomp you out. I only put you to sleep, Joey, because one, I was defending myself. I was not going to let your big ass put your hands on me. And also, I told you 150 times to quit with all the bullshit. So that's why you got knocked out. And so after that, he's laying on the ground, busted up, and then he's still yapping like he wants a piece. Because remember, liquid courage. He's in front of all these girls that he's never going to fuck. So he's trying to show out and like impress people. And that doesn't work out well for him. So me and Quiz, we just walk off because it's not a big deal. I told him if he wanted to run it back, that we could. He sat there. Everybody said, y'all, just quit. It's over, blah, 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 whatever. So we leave, right? Days go by. And Quiz calls me and goes, hey, man, what are you doing? I'm like, not shit. I just got off work. He goes, okay, well, Well, we got to go turn ourselves in because this big stupid MF, apparently after we walked away, he told the cops that we jumped him and that he wanted to press charges. And mainly it ended up being on me because he had a person who was a witness on his behalf. Now I'm just going to give you a quick background on this young female. When I used to have a TV show that's on YouTube and it's covered up to where the only person who can view it is me, and I locked it and made it private for a reason, well, multiple reasons, and I think I talked about that previously on the show. But this young lady was upset because her ex-boyfriend is documented on my show talking about the first time that they had sex when they were in high school. And, and she was upset that I made some jokes about the fact that she chose to go back door for the first time rather than front door. And that's y'all's decision. I didn't tell your story, lady. Your ex did, because you played him, and so he played you on the show. That's not my fucking problem. I'm just here to give the people what they want. So what this girl does, this is years before this situation. So when she has an opportunity to try to fry me for me having her on my janky ass local TV show, her and Joey's big punk ass, they lied to the cops and they say that I started the fight and that we jumped the dude. Oh, if you were wondering, yes, both of these people are white. My friend is white too. Almost everybody out there is white. I think that was made clear when I made the comment about where we lived. So Keith calls me, tells me that we got to go down to the station and go turn ourselves in. I'm like, okay, not a big deal. It is what it is. And that's when I get there. And I don't think I had a full beard at the time. I still had like, I think I had like a little janky ass, like wannabe chin strap. It was not filled in. I think I look cross-eyed. Like I just was not flexing back then. I was an ugly nigga. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I'm ugly now, but I was really ugly back then. And so that's how I ended up having my jail photo taken. Buddy tried to press charges on us. So I ended up losing a whole bunch of money, had to take a bunch of days off work. And the funny thing was, and I can say this now because this shit is over and nothing came of it, but this bitch ass dude, he caused all those problems, tried to press charges, and then didn't even show up to any of the court hearings. But if you guys know anything about our janky ass legal system, even if the person pressing the charges decides that they don't want to, the state can still opt to follow through on things. And so they were trying to give me 2 years, bro. 2 years for beating him up. And the crazy thing is when they gave me the paperwork, right? So they give you copies of the police report, and I had to go down to the station, give a statement, do all these things. And I still have this shit in my room. I actually looked at it the last time I moved, like a couple months ago. And they got pictures of him where his face is all swelled up and all that from where I knocked his ass out. And my nigga, you had that shit coming, bro. I told you don't play with me. But it was funny because when I looked at all that and you look at all the trouble that we went through, and it was all because he was trying to show out, and then he tried to finesse me, use his little privilege, and try to get me caught up, and they tried to send me away for 2 years over that shit. And luckily, thank the Lord for character witnesses and people who could give, eyewitness accounts of the situation, and they refuted everything. And it was crazy too. When I had to sit in the office with my public defender, and she called that girl to listen to that girl try to lie on me, all because she was mad that I was making jokes about how her boyfriend did her the first time they had sex. And it wasn't anything that was crazy inappropriate. It was just the fact that he said what they did, and she didn't like that I put it on the internet. And now when I say it out loud like that, I get it. But you know what? I don't care about you neither, you bum ass girl. And you lucky I don't really feel like saying your name, because I know if I do, it's going to be a whole bunch of problems, mainly more for you than for me. But anyway, that is how I ended up having a jail photo. I've had several run-ins with cops, but they've been more on, cops just harassing me. But that was like the one, well, not the only time, but one of the times where I actually had to go down and do a bunch of bullshit. And it was all because of some sucker shit, man. So Do your best to make sure that you always look presentable just in case you have to take a jail photo. Don't end up like me. Also, don't smile like Terrell Pryor's girlfriend, man. Shout out to him. I hope he has a speedy recovery because now he's laid up. I'm sorry for rambling and yapping your ear off. I hope you found some humor in my story. It's funny now because I'm so far removed from it, but it was a little bit scary to hear that the state was really trying to like give a nigga 2 years. And I had to wear some really uncomfortable clothes to court at the time. It was awful. So awful. But shout out to Quizno, man. We walked away from that shit unscathed, man. We kind of got lucky. We're lucky that there were so many character witnesses, and we're lucky at the fact that, you know, Big Boy was just an idiot. But hopefully his ass learned a lesson. I don't think he did, because I had heard that he was still, like, after the situation originally happened, I heard that he was, like, popping off at the mouth trying to be like, oh, Nick jumped me and da-da-da-da-da. And I had to let him know, like, fam, I did not need to jump you. You are a sucker. And you fell easy, bro. I didn't even give you my 2 best punches. I just gave you a couple, shot quick from the hip, knocked you out. Like, it was easy work. And that wasn't even the best that I could do. Like, I didn't even, you know, hit the Tyson mode button. So you got lucky. But yeah, hope you enjoyed my story. Like I said, be cautious of how you look before you end up going to jail. Because if you have an ugly jail pic, especially now, that shit ends up on the internet, people will crush you. And if you guys feel like scrolling all the way back through my IG, my jail pic is on my Instagram now. There's so many memes, and I probably posted it, it's probably 6 or 7 months ago. Think about how many posts I put up per day, and then factor in 6 or 7 months ago, you'll be scrolling for mad long trying to find that pic. But if you take the time to find it, and you do, DM me, and I'll send you a gift card. On everything, I will send you a gift card if you actually will go in and find that pic and then send it to me, because then I'll know that you looked at my IG. It ain't gonna be a big gift card, fam. Don't get greedy. You're not gonna get no $1,000 Sears gift card or no shit like that. You're gonna get like a $5 at Starbucks gift card. But the first person to do it and send me that pic, you don't get a gift card. I got you. But we're going to jump into this music, man, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to dive into more of the show. So shout out to Terrell Pryor. Prayers up for my dog, speedy recovery. My man got stabbed up. It's hella unfortunate. Do not let your spouses get you out of character like that. It's not worth it. Let's jump into this music, man. You're listening to the Memeco Jackson Show. We'll be back shortly, people. Yo, you know how crazy thing about that story is, man? Buddy really tried to get me and my man caught up. Me and Quizzy had to go to court over that shit. Like, I missed days of work and I was late. Yo, shout out to my old boss, Lisa Touchton. I fuck with you, Lisa. Even though I left Pensacola under some weird circumstances, and the last time I saw you, me and you kind of got into it, but we already hashed that out, and I've talked to you since then. It's all love, but shout out to her, man. She really, you know, taught me a lot of good life lessons in my time working for her, and she gave me an opportunity and helped me excel and actually get supervisor experience, and I think she's one of the main reasons why I was able to get propelled into other opportunities when I moved out west. So thank you, shout out to Lisa, because she could have fired me when I went into the office and told her about my little situation. And what she did was she was like, well, if you're confident that nothing's gonna happen, I won't do anything. And I told her I was fully confident. I knew that it was just a misunderstanding. I was just defending myself, blah, blah, blah. But I did have to tell her about the state trying to give me some years, you know, and she was cool with it, man. And, you know, she kept me on. And, I mean, shit, her husband fixed my broke-ass Honda at the time. Fuck, man. I think, like, gave me raises and promotions. And, I mean, and there's just probably shit that I sometimes I feel like I'm not as deserving of certain things. I'll say that. And so I can appreciate her for taking those chances and giving me those opportunities. That was real big of her. But shout out to Lisa Touchton, man, Pensacola, Florida. Hope you and your family are doing well. Medical Records Express, man, that was a good ass job. So I actually gained a lot of good friendships from that place, especially my nigga James Gatlin. Shout out to you, man. Your Ravens probably going to the Super Bowl. So whenever we get back from the break, we're actually going to have some football talk, and we're going to talk about that. And I got to talk about it now because the Seahawks played. Like, this is airing on Tuesday. The recording's up on Wednesday, but the Seahawks played the Monday night game. And I'm in Seattle, so everybody out here is big Seahawks fans. But, you know, I'm a Bills fan. We won on Thanksgiving, beat those dusty-ass Cowboys. All the Cowboy fans, go suck yourselves. We dusted them. That was easy work. And then Seahawks fans, like, they think they're probably going to the Super Bowl. They think Russ is the MVP, but they've actually already gotten crushed at home by the team who has the person who probably will be the MVP, and that team is probably going to go to the Super Bowl. I think that was made clear this weekend. But the Seahawks did play a pretty good game on Monday night, so we're going to jump into that after this break, man. They got about a minute until the song closes out. And right now they're listening to Re-Up Gang, which is Clipse. Well, this song is just, it's Clipse, back when they actually were Clipse. Not just Pusha, and I think now I don't think Malice is really rapping like that now. I think he's just writing books and, you know, doing his grown man thing. But this was back in the day, man. The record's called Fast Life. It's classic, man. I love that shit. But yo, as that closes out, Getting Money. It's December 3rd. I'll be forgetting what day it is so quick too. I said that shit earlier, but December 3rd, man. We are lit. This is the Meme Cool Jackson Show. I am your host, Meme Cool Jackson. Tonight we're kind of just telling stories, man. I ain't really jumping to the articles yet, but I'm also watching the basketball game. So we're just doing a whole lot of nothing up in this motherfucker. Shit, here we go. Get Money. You know what I'm about to do? Just cut the music off, man. Cut all of that off. Cut it off. Anyways, man, we are back. This is the Meme Cool Jackson Show. Shit, man, it's December 3rd. Can you believe it? It already feels like December is almost over, and we're 3 days in. It's been a long week. It's been a long week of laughing. I feel like I've spent the first few days of December just laughing. So I posted I want to read what the meme actually says. That way people know, because this meme got so much attention. And it was weird because I've seen the same meme posted, but just in a different, you know, little variation where some of the scenario was switched around. And I know that I posted, and I know it did not do the numbers that this one did. And this shit is crazy because there were literally people on there, and it was all females, all on there arguing. And it was crazy because it's one of those posts. I'm trying to find it, but there's just so much shit that I get posted. Fuck, I know someone just commented on it. Where is this shit? Man, I can't find it. Too many posts. But anyway, it was something along the lines where it said, it's like a black girl posting a tweet, and it says something like, if you got a white girlfriend, I'm gonna assume you're single. What the fuck is Sarah gonna do? As if like, I'll take you because what's your white girlfriend gonna do? Now, it's crazy because when I've posted this before, I want to say that it said something, and I think we all had a good laugh because if I remember correctly, it was a black dude, and it's him saying, if you got a white boyfriend, I'm gonna assume you're single because, you know, what the fuck Kyle gonna do? And then under it, like, the girl's like, he'll kill us both and the dog. And then under that, it was like a Kyle comment and say, I wouldn't be that heartless. I would never kill an animal or something like that. You know, it kind of makes you chuckle, whatever. You know, it's probably horrible to laugh at. We all probably going straight to hell, but it's whatever. I found that shit funny. But when I posted this one, it was clear that people got upset. And it was clear that the white women on the page were not a fan of the fact that it made it seem, I think they felt as if the meme was portraying them as soft and weak. And so in that moment, they wanted to make it clear that they were not going to just be intimidated by a black female, and they weren't going to just, you know, let her whoop that ass or something. I get it. Because no one wants to feel like they're being disrespected by anybody. I totally get that. But what made it funny was that you see a couple people comment, and then it turns into this, like, it almost seemed like it turned into white girls versus black girls. But the only thing was that, like, all the black girls were just kind of laughing at the shit, and all white girls were really getting, like, upset. But then they started to kind of get upset with each other. Now, I'm not going to say y'all's names, obviously, and if y'all listen to the show, I appreciate y'all. And I'm not picking a side. This shit was funny. It was funny to watch y'all kill each other. But one girl posts a long thing about how she's like, I'm not gonna take that, and and I think she was trying to convey her thoughts as just like don't be confused or underestimate me by my appearance and all of these things. And she listed some things, like she had tattoos and all this, whatever. And then there was a couple girls who just decided that they wanted to let her have it because they felt like her comment was stupid. And then that thing snowballed into hundreds of comments of them just like these two girls basically roasting this one girl. And even when I woke up this morning, they were still talking on it, like going at each other, comment for comment. And I just thought it was funny because I'm like, yo, it's just a meme. I don't understand why people don't just laugh, and why people are always stressed and focused on making sure that other people understand that they have the ability to possess them. No one possesses anybody, and y'all don't have to be in that space with people. You don't have to possess another person. Let people make their choices. It's really not that serious. Now, I commend all the girls involved because they really duked it out until the end. It was good comedy. We got a lot of views on it. A lot of people were talking. We all had some good laughs. It was funny. I hope that the girls involved were not, I hope they weren't really like, why it's really not that serious, obviously. But I hope feelings aren't hurt too bad and nobody's really in their feelings because, when you put the shit on the internet, you have it coming. It is what it is. And that reminds me, man, I saw this hella sensitive ass dude on one of my posts, which was weird because the post was about some weird ass girl wearing the same underwear for 5 days straight. And then there was like another element to it where people were talking about how she got like desert pussy or something like that. I don't really know what that means. Something about her stuff being mad dried out. But then there was some dude that got on there and was like, why are we all judging? What if she has serious medical problems or some shit? I'm like, fam, it's the internet. Why are y'all taking this shit so seriously? I feel like I'm talking about this shit every week. People really get in their feelings and they start to wild out over people posting things on the internet. I hope you realize that if you really allow yourself to get out of character based on what someone posts on the internet, you're a whole cornball. And I always say, I've been a cornball on a few occasions too. When I've gotten in my feelings because somebody says something stupid and I'm like, oh yeah, you won't run it, pull up, here's my address, But all that shit is dumb. It's people behind a keyboard just typing, being stupid. Their opinions don't mean nothing. None of that shit matters, you know what I'm saying? But there are some people who genuinely get upset because of things that are said on the internet. Or just the thoughts and, opinions of other people get them so far outside of their character that they feel like they can't function. That shit is crazy, man. And I've had some people say some crazy stuff to me over the last few weeks just based on some shit that I post. Shit, even one girl trying to basically tell me that I'm not black enough or not as black as what she thought I was because of some opinions that I had. You know what I said to that? I just laughed. And either way, you still watch my show. You think I care what you have to say? And this is coming from a white girl who I think maybe because she has mixed kids, maybe she thinks she has like the right to let people know who's black and who's not. Like you're one person on a planet full of billions of people. Like, lady, I don't care nothing about what you're talking about. But that's kind of what you gotta do, man. You gotta just like let that shit roll off your shoulders. Now, I could get it if somebody was like in your face talking wild and crazy. It might make you feel some type of way. And then most reactions are going to be fairly normal and understandable. Obviously, you don't want to take it too far, but like some of that stuff I can kind of get if it's like personal in your face. But like, fam, getting upset and pissed off and fired up because people are posting stuff on the internet, get the fuck out of here. That shit is crazy. And I've been seeing it all damn week. So, like I was saying, shout out to the girls who were battling on that status, because I will say none of them did the running away and, got in their fit. At least it didn't seem like, I don't know. I'm sure eventually people just stopped replying because it just got, they were beating a dead horse after a while. But at least it wasn't one of those things where somebody started a bunch of shit and then got mad and then left, or got pissed off over people commenting and all that type of shit. Like, I can appreciate that, because some of that other stuff, man, when I see people doing that, I'll be like, yo, why do you even come here every day? Why come to Instagram or Facebook or Twitter? Why come to this shit every day to be miserable, when it's clear that the rest of us are just trying to have fun? It's like coming to like a cool ass little kickback and there's a big ass moon bounce out there and we all in that motherfucker having fun, and you standing outside with your shoes on talking about how this shit is lame. Like, why'd you walk over here then? Take your ass back over by the face painting, cornball. Well, we don't want you in here anyway. And there's so many of y'all. And some of y'all literally, like, you pursue the people that you end up being upset with. You choose to go out and follow them and, like, and look at their comments. You choose to comment, to like it or dislike it or whatever. You also have the option to keep scrolling. And I wish some of y'all would do that more, because you try to sit there and get engaged and involved in all these little arguments and it'd be over nothing, my nigga. Like, fuck, go on a vacation or fucking go get a massage, do something, man. You gotta do something, because some of y'all, you're just not cut out for the internet. So, what do we got? Man, I saw some videos of, I don't know if you guys know who Wack 100 is. Who is Wack? Wack is like a, I don't want to misrepresent him, but I think he's like a head honcho for TDE and like helps bring new artists on and all that type of stuff. He's somebody that has some type of relevance in the rap game. And I guess recently he was quoted on several occasions as saying that he doesn't think Nipsey Hussle is a legend. And at first I thought about it, and like everybody, I was like, what? He don't think Nip's a legend? It's Nip, da-da-da-da-da. And then I started listening to what he's actually saying. And I can kind of see his point. Now, I think everybody, everybody's opinion is different. I think most people are going to look at it and say he is. But I think a lot of times we base a person's legendary status off of like accolades and like, how do we measure who's the best? Well, they got all these awards and they have all these accolades and they've been able to like do this for, however many years, and they've maintained consistency and all that type of stuff. And so sometimes it's tough to really look at somebody who has a very small mainstream body of work. And what I mean by that is one where everybody was kind of had the opportunity to see it. Whereas before, when they're starting out or when they're underground, like their following is it's just theirs. They don't have big time features in most cases. I mean, depending on their type of talent and who they know. But a lot of times, like these guys they're just grinding. Guys and girls alike, they're grinding, they make their tapes, they push their tapes themselves, they do everything themselves, and like, they have their 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 100,000 people who like, really fuck with them. But when you think of like on a mainstream scale, like, a lot of these guys, they only have one album, and a lot of times it isn't even platinum. It doesn't really do all that well. So he was saying that because Nipsey only has one like mainstream album that did well, and I think he mentioned, I don't know if this is actually true, but he mentioned that it didn't go platinum until after he ended up dying, which was very unfortunate, because as you all know, his album came out, I think it was like at the end of, he passed away early this year. I think the album came out around this time last year, or maybe it was earlier in the year, and then he ended up, tragically being killed. And so Wack was saying that he doesn't view Nipsey as a legend, and he felt like the energy and the love that Nipsey has been getting was fake. And he feels like it was fake because he doesn't feel like people showed him that love and respect while he was here. And when I thought about that, I was like, well, I could maybe kind of see that, because it's obvious that, you know, Nipsey, his music is super dope, and obviously he was doing really big things for his community, and, you know, he was impacting change on a national stage because he was getting people who were in similar positions as him to kind of follow his lead and do, and I mean, we've always had that, but I think based on our period of time with social media and all that stuff, a lot of the things that he was doing, it was much more documented than a lot of other people that we've seen before him. And so, especially when you have the younger crowd, a lot of young people were really getting behind that positivity and change and impacting lives. All that kind of stuff seems like it's very big amongst our like younger generation, which I think is really dope for them. And it's the only thing that really kind of gives me hope for the future, is that you have so many people who are wanting to like really change a lot of this stuff and no longer, you know, look at it as glass half empty, and rather everything be glass half full to an extent. That's just how I'm interpreting it. But I could kind of agree with Wack to a certain extent, where I would never look at, I think there's multiple variations of legend status. So like I look at like Jay-Z is legend, right? Eminem is to some degree legend. If we're looking at accolades and statistics and albums sold and all that type of stuff, like those are the two people that they're 1 and 2. I want to say that M is, as far as album sales, is I think he's like miles above most people, and I could be wrong about that, but I know at points in time I've heard that Eminem is like the biggest selling rap artist, and people tend to use the words of all time after they state that sentence. I don't know how accurate that is, but I know Jay-Z is also up there. You have a lot of people who are like that, where they've been in the game for a long time, so they're able to get the awards, they have the longevity, you know, it's all that kind of stuff. And so those are different types of legends now. But then you have legends who are like Biggie and Tupac, and then you could probably even put Nipsey on that list, where, and I mean, Tupac obviously had more than just 1 or 2 albums, but like Big only had a couple of albums. Like Nips has tons of mixtapes, and he has a lot of content and a really deep catalog, but like he has one really solid like album. And so you look at these guys when they have their careers and their lives cut short due to horrible, tragic situations. And then when you know, if you're looking at them after death, I could see how for some people it might be tough to want to refer to them as a legend, because a lot of the body of work is not there in the same way that it is for other artists. But I think if you look at overall impact, I think you can look at it as like, yes, Nip's impact is greater after he leaves the game. And unfortunately, obviously, we would rather have him here. You'd rather have everybody here, especially when they're doing such positive things and, you know, they're reaching the masses the way that Nip was. You would want them to be here. But it's clear that his impact is greater after death than it was when he was alive. And that's usually the case because most people don't care as much about things until they lose it. And that literally can be said about everything. And I also see the same thing about Mac Miller. And I will say this is no disrespect to them, because these are two guys that, like, I love their music. I think they're both in their respective ways, they are legends, because they're able to maintain their followings. They're able to touch those people, make those people feel something. And I think if you're able to listen to someone's music and they make you feel, then you have every right to refer to that person as a legend. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because that's your personal preference. I'm a big Mac fan, and I will say this: I'm a fan. Like, I didn't really start getting into his music until after he passed, because there were so many people posting about it. And I was like, why have I never heard of this guy? And I started checking out his content. I'm like, oh man, I slept on this, and that's because I listen to the music that I listen to, and I'm one of those old dogs that is hard to teach new tricks type of deal. But he was somebody that, like, after the fact, I came to really appreciate him and his music and the content that he was putting out. But it was like I said, it was after the fact, and so I think Wack's whole point, and obviously because he's somebody that speaks with a lot of aggression, he's a boss to some degree, so he has to kind of be a little bit firm. Honestly, when I look at him and I watch him on videos, he just reminds me of Dame Dash. He's like the new version of Dame Dash. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think there are pros and cons to that. I've told another story about Wack on here before, where him and him and Mike Tyson got into a fight over Tupac on Mike Tyson's podcast. Now, and that just comes from the fact that Wack is not shy about, giving you his perspective and his opinion. So I think if you're able to get past, like, the language and his tone and all that, if you're listening to what he's saying, I think to some degree, like, I can understand some of it. It kind of made me question how I feel. Like I said, I do think Nip is a legend to some degree because of impact. But I would never look at it as like, well, he's a legend strictly based off of his music. I love his music. I listen to a lot of his songs, and not just off that Victory Lap album. But again, if we're looking at, if you were trying to compare bodies of work, like, I mean, Ludacris has a deep catalog. 50 has a deep catalog. Like, Game just put out a new album. He says this is his last album. That shit was fire. I don't know if you've had time to go listen to that, but that new Game album, Born to Rap, is fire, and he has some good ass features. But you have guys like that have that type of deep catalog and longevity, and I don't even think we refer to them as legend. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like if something were to happen to any of the guys that I named today, we would look at them as like they are legends. And a lot of the criteria you would use to, give that statement any type of validity, it would be based off the fact that they have deep catalogs and the things that they've done in music. I'm sure Ludacris would get a lot of praise for his acting skills, and everybody, most of these guys, they do some type of like philanthropy type of stuff here and there. But I think that was the one thing about Nip that we could say is probably puts him a little bit higher up than a lot of people, is that, he really was trying to do stuff to, like, really get on with the community. And so based on that, I think that's kind of what will give him some sort of like legendary type of status. But I think if you're like, Wack's whole point was, when you look at like music, catalog, all that type of stuff, it's hard to say that he is a legend. But I don't know, man. You got to tell me what you think. I think he kind of is, but not specifically for music. So, yeah. R.I.P. Nip, though. Good music. I feel like I'm still listening to that Victory Lap album. Such a good album. I feel like Nipsey was really slept on for a long time. But I don't know. I feel like that happens a lot with West Coast music. I feel like I'm a big fan of West Coast music, but some of the stuff that people will send me and they're like, oh, this is this West Coast artist. I'm like, I don't really like this shit. And sometimes it's just not, it's not that it's bad, but like, I don't know. Maybe for me being from the South, maybe it's just not my steez, but Nipsey always found a way to kind of, get me to like turn up the volume and, hit the repeat button. Game has been able to do that. Kendrick has been able to do that. I do love E40. I love a good E40 record. Obviously, there's the legends, Snoop and Dre and like people like that, R.I.P. Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg has some good stuff. I was actually I've talked about this to a few people the other day, and I'm going to bring this up on the air. I'm just going to say it. I got 2 songs that I'm going to name, and I'm going to tell you why I don't think they're that great. But I'm going to also explain why I can understand why people love them. So, we're going to start with Seattle's own Sir Mix-a-Lot. I think Baby Got Back is a terrible song. I've never thought that shit was good. And I have a hard time understanding why people say, oh, that's one of the best rap songs ever created. I need y'all to explain to me where he was rapping. And it's not a diss to him, because if you say song, okay, that sounds like a song that a guy put together. It's like Weird Al type stuff. Remember when Weird Al used to make albums? Like, those were good songs, but like, I would never be like, yo, these are dope rap songs. No, no, no. That's not what that shit is. Now, again, it is no disrespect to Sir Mix-a-Lot. He is a legend in his own right. I don't know. I don't really know how. I think it's just based off the song. It's primarily Baby Got Back, so I get it. You know, it's like a one-hit wonder type of deal. But I've always just like, I think what does it for me, what turns it off, is that shit at the beginning where those two girls are talking, and it hits her with the, oh my God, Becky, look at her. But like, that shit's annoying to me. And then when you watch the video, in the video, none of the girls have big butts. That's where I got confused at. Because it's like the whole song is Baby Got Back. Like, where were the backs? I just was confused. So every time I hear it on one of those little radio stations, I just be wondering to myself, like, why do people like this shit? This shit is not a good song. And then my second one, and this one I have to do a little more explaining, because the song is good and the message is good to some degree. And Nate Dogg's part is fantastic, because I'm a big Nate Dogg fan. But I've never understood why there was so much hype around Warren G and Nate Dogg's Regulate record. Like, that's not all that great of a song to me. But people are like, this is one of rap's like classic songs. Like, it's one of the songs, right? When you hear Regulators, you know, you hear all that and you're like, oh yeah, and then that beat starts to play, and then he hits it with There's a Cold Dark Night and all that, you know, he starts rapping, you're like, oh yeah, this is great. But then when I listen to it, I'm like, I don't really like this shit. Like, I feel like maybe I'm just dissecting it too much, because I start thinking of like, what year was this made? Who else was rapping? Could we have put that person on this beat with Nate Dogg? Like, you know, who did the production? Is there someone else that we could have gotten? Maybe we could have changed. Like, I start maybe being too critical, but like, it just was one of those songs to me where I was kind of like, maybe I don't see what everybody else sees. And I feel like I struggle with that sometimes, because like, general consensus will try to tell you that like X, Y, and Z are all hot things, and I'm one of those people that's like, this shit's trash. And it's about a lot of stuff. And then people try to tell me that I'm crazy and that I'm lame because I think it's weak. I'm like, I just don't like it. I don't know what to tell you. Like, a lot of these new rappers that come out, they all have these like janky ass names, and like, they don't actually rap. They're kind of just there. And people are like, yo, this shit is hot. And I'm like, I'm gonna give y'all one. I don't think Migos is hot. Like, I have a hard time listening to their records. With all of the people that I've named, I can tell you, I can see why people like it and why it does appeal. Some of the beats are pretty good, so I would say like the production on it is decent, but I know that they don't just be in there producing their own records. They have people that do that shit. So the producers are pretty dope. I'll give them that. But like, when I listen to them, and I remember there was a time when people were like, yo, these are like the new Beatles. And I don't know a ton about the Beatles. And I get it that maybe they're only comparing them in the sense where it's just like a group. And I know their whole thing was that I think Migos their deal was that they're not really like rappers, that they're just musicians, or they're entertainers, or they're rock stars. I think that was the term that they tried to use. They were rock stars, and they weren't just rappers. And they wanted to transcend and be, you know, they wanted to be international. And they've done well for themselves. There's no shade to them. I mean, get the bag any way that you can, man. I do not hate on that. I would just say, for me, if people are like, yo, you get in my car and you go, hey, put that new Migos on, fam, you probably gonna have to walk. Because I'm not putting that on. I'm not checking for that. I'm also somebody that either says your shit's hot or your shit's trash. So, and I'm not saying that these people are trash. I want to make that very clear before we dive into more of these shows, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. If this thing is to ever go anywhere, some of these people eventually I'm going to have to meet face to face, and they need to understand one thing. I do not think you as a person are trash unless you do something that is not in regards to your craft, but more about the personal side of your life, and you end up doing something that is trash. I will then call you trash. And that will be a shot at you and your character. But for the most part, anything that I'm commenting on is just your body of work within your specific job. Because your job is on a public stage, although I'm just some random ass Negro with a microphone, I am entitled to say whether or not I think you are trash or not. So there will be some people that I might be like, yo, record is trash. Your acting job is trash. That thing you invented is trash. You know, when you were on TV that day, you were trash. I might say that. That does not mean you are a trash person. I'm sure some of you are great people. You are probably wonderful, amazing people. But it's okay to look at you and be like, look, whatever it is you're doing, you just don't do it that well. And I think you're trash. And I'm sure there are people who look at me and go, yo, he probably is a nice guy, but that nigga's trash. He's not very funny. Beard is not lined up well. His hairline is crooked, you know. Maybe 3.5, 4 if he's lucky. People might say that. I don't take offense to that. That's not a shot at my character. That's just you stating that you think I'm ugly. And I get that. And I always go to that because that's pretty much the only real knot on me is that I'm ugly. I mean, for the most part, with this stuff, I'm pretty cool with this. I mean, there's definitely room for improvement, but shit. Imagine if I get some real training and then this stuff started taking off. It'd be game over. That's all I need is a little bit of coaching. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't get super offended. But I know some of these little celebrities, they get hella offended. So I hope that down the line that people don't see this stuff and take it as that I'm disrespecting them as people. I'm sure they are all wonderful people. But sometimes they're just a little bit trash. That's okay, though. But anyway, man. Nipsey is a legend. Go check out that new Game record. I'm sorry if you were a big fan of Sir Mix-a-Lot. I'm not a fan of that shit. I do love Nate Dogg. I love Warren G too, but like that song specifically is Regulate is just okay to me. I'll still listen to it every now and again. And the last little part that Nate Dogg is spitting, that's where all the fire come in at. The rest of it before that was just okay. I ain't gonna lie, Warren G was just okay. And then Nate Dogg had to come in at the end and save the damn song. So it's hot, but you know, it's not that hot. If you guys have any other songs that you swear are some of the greatest that you've ever heard and you want to play them for me or send them to me, I'll listen and I'll evaluate. And I'll let you know if I think it's trash or not. It probably will be trash based on how a lot of the people around me posting their music taste. Like some of the stuff y'all listen to, I'm like, this shit is not good. I'm trying to think, who was it? Somebody was telling me about the other day, and they were like, oh no, it's the concert. So okay, so a lot of people out here that I know, they're big Kevin Gates fans. I've never really listened to his music, but I'm not a Kevin Gates fan. He's not somebody that I'm checking for. And there was really somebody who tried to say that I was lame because I wasn't going to the Kevin Gates concert after I said that I was already not a fan of him. So me not being a fan of him made me lame, which I thought was weird because the one time that I did hear some of his music, I was like, this shit is trash. So I was confused as to how I was lame, but I was also very confused as to how y'all thought that shit was good. Now, maybe I didn't give him a fair shot. I've been known to do that from time to time. Or maybe you're listening to somebody and, you know, maybe you only listen to about 35 seconds of their song and then you realize that the shit is just not very good. I've done that before. And maybe I need to give people more of a chance. Give them the benefit of the doubt. But it's tough because some of these people, I can just look at him and tell like that his music is not good. Is that weird to say? Now, again, Kevin, if you ever end up hearing this, I'm sure you are a great person. I bet there's no denying that. Like I said, maybe I need to give you another shot, but from everything that I hear, I'm not feeling it. Like, I don't even like my own music, so that y'all should not feel that bad. When that shit comes on, I'll be like, yo, this nigga's trash, turn this. And that anybody who's ever been in the car with me, like I'll kind of as a joke rep it because I want people to hear it because I'm waiting for the day that somebody hears it and goes, yo, who is this? This is fire. That will never happen. But I'm hoping that one day it will. But there is also that part of me that's like, yo, let me play you some of the worst music you've ever heard. And I love putting my own songs on. And people really look at me and they go, what is this? Do you think you like this? This is good? And that's how I know we were trash. And I was trash. But I will say, shout out to my homeboy, Addison Salter, one of my lifelong homies. He left a comment on one of my Facebook posts where he did reference one of the songs. If you don't know, there's a record that I'm a part of. It's called Butt Naked in the Club. And it's fire. It's not fire? Cheese is in the building. Says the record's not fire. I think the shit's fire. It's from the old days.
It's not bad.
You won't even believe that it's me in the video because I look like a whole goofy ass MF. It was horrible. You haven't seen that video? Fuck.
It's too much butt naked in the club. If you didn't say that.
Yeah, it definitely, if you don't want to hear Butt Naked in the Club repeated 100 times, I probably wouldn't listen to it. But other than that, I think it's a great song. There's a music video. It's just hot, man. My rap career was very short-lived because I was not a good rapper. Shout out to my friend Robert Moore, a.k.a. D-Red. D-Red had, I like Rob. I think Rob had talent. And I think Rob could have made it. I just wish Rob wasn't living in Navarre, Florida. It's just tough. I got another friend who's out there who's doing music, and like they got some guys that's really talented coming out of there, but it's like they, just in the panhandle. Like we probably should have grown up in bigger cities or something where we could have like really gotten some notoriety and recognition. Probably could have taken off. Well, I think Rob probably could have. I already knew I was not destined to be a rapper. I told y'all earlier in the show how I used to like to fight. I would not have been good in the rap game. I probably would have been killed in about 3 days, probably. Because I would have been like, oh, yo, let's beef with this rapper. Because I got diss records, too. And I have a diss record about me, which I think is hilarious. And I actually saw it when I was putting songs in the queue. I probably should play it on the next show just to see if y'all like it. But I feel like based on the content, people will probably just report my show and probably try to say that I was like spewing hate speech, which I'm not, because the song is about me. That was made by somebody else who is dissing me on behalf of these two clown-ass rappers that didn't want to come to my city and actually try to see me face to face. And then when they did show up, they acted like little bitches. And there are witnesses to that fact, too. So all you rappers out there, I was involved in some real rap beef. And they had somebody in another country make a diss record about me. So my claim to fame is that I was on a diss record. It's hot, though. Maybe it's not. I don't fucking know. Rap is not for everybody. So if you're listening to this while you're in your basement, right, with your notebook and your pen out, if you're 35 and haven't made it yet, just hang it up, fam. And there's a couple of you guys on my Facebook who are like literally late 40s, and you're still not even selling out shows in your own cities. It's time to hang it up. You can't be gangster rappers forever, bro. I mean, literally, some of y'all are working like at Amazon and at Costco and still talking about how you're popping guns and like flipping bricks. You're not flipping bricks. You're literally flipping boxes into people's cars so they can deliver packages for the Christmas season. That's not the same thing. So maybe it's time to let this shit go. But if you still want to continue and you want to get a verse from me, I only charge $50. It's a low rate, but I still need my chips, all 50 of it. And I need it in ones, too. So, we're going to take a short break, man. We're through a good portion of the show. But we got Cheese in the building. We're going to take a small break, We're going to get into this music, and then we'll get back with some more topics. It's just going to be pretty crazy. So, what are we listening to? I'm going to tell you. We're going to skip over whatever song this was, and we're going to play this old Rick Ross, Here I Am, featuring Nelly and Avery Storm, because it's lit. There we go, man. Cheese, what's up? Nah, man, I'm just tired. Watching these basketball games, we're doing the show. We've been talking about a lot of stuff. But when we come back from break, so today, there's an article going around because Twitter is outraged over that stupid ass Peloton commercial.
I read about this today.
And we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm upset with the commercial for other reasons. You already know what they are. It's not the same thing that other people are outraged about, which I didn't read a lot of the articles because some people were saying that they were upset that they used the wrong type of girl for the commercial and her body was too perfect to look like she'd been through any type of struggle. My whole reason for hating the commercial is because I think the shit is stupid. And I think the way they portrayed her, it looks stupid. And come on, you're struggling to wake up and walk from your bedroom to your living room to ride your stationary bike? Get the fuck out of here. I can understand if like Peloton was just a class that was at this big, massive corporate chain of gyms or something, and you're like, oh, it's been hard for me to get to the gym, and then I found this class, and this class changed my life. I'd be like, yeah, you know what, respect. Because it's tough just getting out of the bed. But come on, man. The part where she's like, oh, it's been 5 days in a row. And then her and her husband are watching it at the end. Like, get the fuck out of here. You guys are corny. I know that going to the gym is a struggle. But she looked like a fitness instructor. That's not the person you need to have on that video.
That's the problem I have with it.
And I think that's what most people's problem was, is that they made her seem like she was just going through some like really intense struggle, but it's like, you look like you're the person who's going to be on the video if I buy the bike.
But maybe it's more mental health. That's the way I took it the first time I saw it.
And people brought that up, and I can understand that. I get the mental health aspect of it, but the problem is that it's, I don't know. I'm looking at it as that some of the problem kind of seems like if you're going to have somebody who's struggling, you can't have them in a mansion pulling up from when she comes home from work, she's in an outfit that would lead you to believe that she is some like, she's like up the chain of command in some type of corporate business setting, you know. You're going to work. This can't be just your husband. Obviously, he makes enough money just to buy you the bike, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, I don't know. That's probably diving a little too deep, but they make it seem like, what is your problem? What struggles are you actually having? And it didn't look like she was having many. You have a good body. She's cute. It's like you're not ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the house. You have a nice husband, like, and then I think they have kids on the commercial too. Like, she just was being a little too dramatic. And it's not her, obviously.
It didn't tell a good story.
Yeah, the ad people, I think they knew they fucked up when they made that. Excuse my language, but if we're just being for real, I think that's what it is. It looks stupid to me. But it was interesting because I know Cheese and I were talking about this the other day. And I immediately was like, ugh, this stupid ass commercial again. And then we kind of had a laugh, but then like when I was kind of saying my piece about it, like I could tell you were looking at me like it's not that serious. And I knew it wasn't. But then this morning, it was, because Twitter went crazy and everyone hates it. I knew it. I win. Argument over. Even though we weren't arguing.
I said it was a dumb
And we were both on the same side.
Yeah.
But argument over.
Tell a good story.
Peloton. The other commercials just as stupid
like
too, though.
$2,300. They should only play them at households where the income is above a certain range.
Well, I told you that I don't want to blast too much of her story, but that girl that follows me, that I know because I have it on good authority that she is an escort, and how one day she's posting about how she has no money to pay the bills, and then the next day she has a Peloton bike. Yeah, come on, man. But she says it works though.
So I have a friend that has one, and they're really well off, but her husband travels a lot for work, and she has 2 little ones. So her story with it is that it's really hard for her to stay in a routine when her husband travels, and so he bought it for her, which that's a good story.
I feel like I heard that story 9 times today from different people on Facebook.
Well, but that's what the commercial gives no background. That's what's going on.
Everybody apparently is struggling to get to the gym and now has a husband that can buy them a $2,300 stationary bike that in 6 months will end up being a place where you hang clothes after laundry.
It's more than just a stationary bike.
What else is it besides a stationary bike?
It takes you through classes and stuff, so you basically are in a spin class.
So
pay a subscription.
but the thing is still a stationary bike.
Yeah, but people pay tons of money to go. The stationary bike's all the rage. There's like cycle bar classes where people just go and cycle on a stationary bike all together.
I know you're talking to a guy that literally spent his entire life working at gyms. No, I know that they have that, but I'm saying the point is it's still just a stationary bike. Regardless of whether or not it can give you classes or something, it's a bike, man.
It's a really good workout.
I'm not saying that it's not.
You don't have to go anywhere.
I'm not saying that it's not a good workout. I'm just saying I don't. The commercial is trying to tug at your heartstrings.
Oh, they're not tugged.
And it's not that serious. If she really was struggling, she need to get her ass up like everybody else and go to the fucking gym. Or work out from home. There's P90X, there's Beachbody, there's all of these things you could do at home. Like, the bike is what turns your life around? Nah, man, I'm not hearing that. Argument over. But you make good points, though.
Oh, I know.
No, you don't know. You didn't know until I told you. Maybe you knew.
As soon as I felt them.
Man, let me cut this off, man. Then we're going to restart it, man. We are back. This is the Meanquil Jackson Show. I am your host, Meanquil Jackson. We are pretty much through the first hour and a half of this show, but we're about to dive into a topic that is, this is so serious, guys. I want you to bear with me. I noticed today that Twitter was going crazy over an ad created by this company that makes stationary bikes for exercise. Dun dun dun! Peloton. Get a Peloton now and you'll feel great forever. And then your life will just get so much better. And the only way you can even get a Peloton is if you're already rich and make more than $100,000 a year, because these things are fucking expensive for no damn reason. But if you get a Peloton, then your ass will get firmer, your abs will get stronger, and your head might even get a little bit bigger because we'll even increase your brain power. Come to Peloton. Get a stationary bike now, and then in 10 weeks, you'll be able to hang all of your favorite t-shirts on it because you're never going to use it again because you're a fat, lazy joker. That's how the commercial talks to me. Because I know if I got that bike, I would probably use it for a couple of weeks and then I would be done with it. But the ad that they created, they try to really tug at your heartstrings and get you to care about this girl and her journey. Now, one of the things that it didn't outrage me, but one of the things that I find annoying about the commercial is the fact that the person that they get to play the role of the woman who is struggling with a workout routine and then somehow finds a new path once she is able to obtain this piece of workout equipment. This girl looks like she's, a fitness instructor. But it's very dramatic, and we're trying to it's look at her journey over a year, and then at the end of it, her and her husband watch a montage video of her working out with that. So that was also the thing that I thought was weird, is that they try to set the scene for you, and they say it's been a year. So that means that however many days a week she got to ride this bike, she recorded all these videos and it's her being emotional, and then they watch it at the end. Now, I know that there are people who actually do this. They document their progress. I'm not dismissing that. I just want to get these jokes off. Lady, you looked like you had been a fitness instructor your entire life. Now, I know not all of the things that they're seeking to kind of get you in the fields about this commercial were all physical related. It wasn't just about body image. I'm sure some of it was mental health and how things can turn around for you when you're being able to work out. And obviously there's a lot of families, and especially mothers, they struggle to be able to get to the gym every day because there's a lot of responsibilities and there's kids to hold. Now, I totally get that. But where the ad people fucked up is that they made it seem like she was really hurting and struggling in life. But everything around her would lead you to believe that she had no problems at all. So it looks like she's just being very dramatic. At the end, when her husband and her are watching the montage video, she's like shedding tears and like squeezing his hand, and they're so excited. And he kind of looks like he just doesn't really give a shit, which I feel like that's typical. I feel like if somebody that I was seeing like sat me down and was like, hey, watch this video real quick, I would watch it, obviously. But there would be a part of me that would be like, what are we looking at? This is you in different outfits riding a stationary bike. And I'm saying that about this scenario specifically because she obviously, it's a commercial that they probably shot in one day, but they try to convince you that it's shot over like a period of time, and she literally doesn't look any different. One scene she has, this outfit, the next scene she has a different outfit with a little bit of sweat, and then the scene after that she's on the bike with a little bit of sweat but a different outfit, and then the scene after that is them watching the 4 previous scenes, and then her shedding a tear, and then him just smiling like an idiot. It's just not a good ad. Their other ad I think is bad too. The other ad has the Kanye West song "All the Lights" on it, so it's like they show all the houses in the neighborhood with Christmas lights, and you hear the guy in the background on the bike. He's like, "Come on, y'all, it's Christmas and we're still working out." And then it's like the guy in his living room pumping it, getting his workout in, and then his son comes down because obviously it's Christmas. Kids wake up early and they want to open those presents. And then him and his son, they have a moment where he just stands there and he looks at him. And in that moment, the dad is so proud because look, my son just saw me working out, and I hope he's inspired. I hope that he wants to start going to spin class 3 times a week at the Y, because that's the type of family I'm trying to build. And you hear all the lights, so it's getting you pumped up. If you know anything about that beat, it took Kanye like 2 years to make that beat. So it's his heart, his soul, his blood, his tears, all of that. And they want you to feel that when you look at their dusty-ass commercial. I didn't like that, man. Peloton, y'all are doing too much, man. It's just a stationary bike. In 2 years, there'll be a different bike that's way better than Peloton. Peloton will be on the shelf just like Nordic Track was. That's how workout equipment goes. So, shout out to you if you can afford a Peloton. Even if my broke ass could afford it, I probably would never get it. I'm not a fan of stationary bikes. I know it can provide some good cardio, but that shit just bores me. I can't just sit there. And Cheese was telling me before we came back on the air that it's more than just a bike, and they have classes, and it's interactive. It's all these things. I get it, but nigga, it's a bike. It is what it is. So good luck if you get a Peloton. Let me know how it works, man. If I can come to your house and ride your bike while I eat pieces of pizza, let me know, because I'm with that. Because I mean, that's what you do, right? You're just riding, right? That's it. I could eat a piece of pizza and do a spin class. No. Nah, fam, I'm not taking a spin class. You know why? Because I don't want to have to stand up on the bike and then like hold it and ride. I'm not doing that, bro. If I wanted to do that, I would just go ride a regular ass bike and just take it back to the old days and go jump off curbs and freaking knock over trash cans and shit, and like ride with no hands down hills and all that with no helmet, like an idiot. That's what I'm saying. If I'm gonna ride a bike, I'm gonna do it the real way. Live on the edge, Evel Knievel style. But anyway, I had to talk about that because the Peloton thing, man, that shit is so stupid. So it's already 8:30. Damn, we got a half hour left. We're breezing through this shit tonight. So one of the topics I wanted to talk about was, and this topic was spurred by a friend of mine. We were having a conversation, and then we're talking about like pet names, like, you know, why do people use them? Do you even like them? Like, you know, whatever. There's certain ones that I'm not a fan of at all. And this will probably be devastating to so many people. I'm not a fan of the word babe. And I have been like this for a very long time. For a long time, my follow-up anytime someone called me babe is I'd be like, don't call me that, because I'm not a pig in the big city. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You guys get that? That's classic. Now that doesn't get a lot of laughs. Maybe about a quarter of the time. But I still think it's funny. But I don't like being called babe. And so it got me thinking about this one time. This is way before I moved out here to the West Coast. But I was talking to this girl. And I'm not going to say her name because I think she actually still follows my IG. She may not even remember this, which I hope she kind of doesn't, because I don't want to give her a reason to try to reach out to me. If you're even thinking about reaching out to me, my nigga, don't do it. I don't want to talk to you. But this girl, she got upset with me one day because I refused to let her call me babe. Now, obviously, you make your own choices. I was not telling her, do not call me that. I just was informing her that do not be surprised if I don't reply to that shit because I don't like it. And she got all frustrated. She was like, well, I should be able to call you that. I call all my boyfriends that. And that right there is what did it for me. Why would you want to call me the same name that you call other people? Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably going to be like, well, I mean, guys do that. You know, if you like see a girl and you're like, hey, I think you're cute. Hey, cutie, what's up? Or, you know, whatever the case may be. Yeah, probably. But I would say as turning that into your nickname, no, not long term. I would never like forgo calling someone by their name or giving them a nickname and only call them by one of the standard janky ass pet names that we like call everybody in those first opening stages of talking, whatever the case may be. But she like really got upset and we ended up like basically calling it quits after that because I'm somebody that good luck on getting me to break on some of the things that I stand firm on. This was one of those things. I told her multiple times, do not call me that shit. And then she got upset because I wouldn't call her that because she also wanted to be called that. And it was like a demand. And I'm like, you take the fun out of it if you're requiring me to call you by that name. It was a super weird situation. So, based on the conversation I was having yesterday, we were talking about like pet names and like ones we like and do not like. And it's interesting because I want to start to talk about this with people. And like, what is your preferred pet name, Cheese?
No comment.
No comment? You can't comment about a pet name?
I think it's different for every relationship. It's whatever is natural.
Whatever is
natural.
natural.
Require that people call me something.
See, I like that response. Because I think that's fair, and that's probably what it should be. I think like
now I use babe, but that's just because there's limited options for girls calling dudes something than the other way around.
So she's saying there's limited options for girls to call dudes things than the other way around, and I totally get that because I know that that's true. Like what, most guys are, if you want to comment on how their appearance or their looks, you would say like they're handsome. And it kind of stops there.
But you don't call them. Well, I guess you could say call them handsome, just like guys call. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like guys would say like, "Hey, beautiful." It'd be weird if I was like, "Hey, handsome." I guess it wouldn't.
I don't know. It goes back to what you just said. It kind of depends on the person and the capacity of whatever the relationship is. Because some people just call people that grandmothers will like call, "Hey, sweet boy," or little man.
Best friends, babe. So it's more of a term of endearment for people that are close to me.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, and that's why my thing would be like, call other people that. Don't call me that. Call me by my name, or call me. I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't feel like I'm a babe. I don't feel like I have babe written on me. I feel like I'm something else. I'm another name like fam or hey yo. Like I'm that. I'm not pet name worthy, I don't think. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know, man. I don't like that shit. So when I was thinking about that, I started to question, am I overthinking it or putting too much into it? Does it really matter? And I decided that no, I was not. because I feel like, and stay with me. The reason I do not is because we now live in a time where people are making the biggest deal about how they want to be referred to, and their preferred whatever. Everybody has like a thing. So I figured, well, why not? So now I just decided that I don't identify as babe. So don't fucking call me that. And if someone does call me that, don't be shocked if I look off into the distance and act like I don't hear you. And I might even look back at you to acknowledge that, like, this is for you. I'm ignoring you purposely. I don't want to hear that. No, not a lot of people call me that, though. Actually, I think the last person that I remember calling me babe was probably my grandmother. And it's just because I think she just calls all of us that. I don't know. It's weird. It sounds more appropriate when it comes from a grandmother, I would say. Or like a family member, an aunt or an uncle. Maybe not an uncle. Pause. Not an uncle. I'm saying in general terms, like, you know, but even still, I feel like if your uncle is calling you babe, get out of there. Get out of there while you can. Quick. Shit, what else do we got, man? Okay, so let's jump into the nitty gritty. So I talked about earlier how we were going to go in on the fact that there was a story that I had talked about. This happened in September, where a mom said that her son was getting bullied at school, right? She said that because he was getting bullied, that he no longer wanted to be here. And then the story basically told us that one day when the young fella got out of school, that he just decided that it was time to go. And she said that she came home and he had hung himself and somehow convinced his little sister to also hang herself. So then I get sent an article the other day, and the headline reads, "Tragic. Mother arrested in death of siblings found hanging in Berks County basement." This is her. There's also something very weird attached to this. So not only is she getting, I'm going to read it, she's getting multiple charges, and one of them is crazy weird. And in the article, they don't really touch on like specifics and details about it, but it's very strange. So get ready for it. I'm going to read a lot of this article because I find this very, very interesting. So, Albany Township, Pennsylvania. Authorities in Berks County have arrested a woman after her 2 children were found hanging in their home this past September. Authorities announced charges against Lisa Snyder, who's 36, in the deaths of Connor Snyder, who is 8, and Brinley Snyder, who was 4. These are young kids, so young. Basically, it says that Snyder has been charged with 2 counts of first and third degree murder, endangering the welfare of children, and, wait for it, animal cruelty, including intercourse with an animal. Animal cruelty, including intercourse with an animal. Those are her charges.
What?
Intercourse with an animal.
That took a turn.
This is the weirdest situation. So I know when I first talked about this, and I think it was on one of the first couple episodes, I talked about this shit, and I don't remember saying anything about there being any type of animal cruelty. That was not something that I remember discussing. I think we just talked about the fact that as soon as I discussed the article, and even when I saw it, my immediate thought was, well, she did this shit. Because everything that the police were saying about her reasoning and excuse and all that, it just seemed weird. Most kids at that age, I mean, unless they're just seeing that stuff at home all the time, which after you kind of dive into this little story a little bit more, you could maybe almost be like, man, I could maybe see the kid wanting to do that, but not at 8 years old. I feel like it would have been more likely if he was 12 or 13, some around that age where they have a better understanding of suicide and its ramifications and things like that. But at age 8, fam, and she was just saying, oh, I came home and they just hung himself, and he was getting bullied at school and da 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 da. So the rest of this reads that, so the district attorney said this was a horrific and tragic incident. Police say both children were found hanging in the basement of their Albany Township home back on September 23rd after Lisa Snyder called 911. Snyder was taken into police custody at her home Monday morning and was arraigned in Hamburg. State police had been investigating the children's deaths as criminal homicides. According to the records, the young victims were hanging approximately 3 feet apart from a single wired cable with plastic coating. Like, she literally hung them up like they were clothes drying in the laundry room. Like, this is fucking crazy. Crazy. Like, if y'all don't want kids, don't have sex or use protection, condoms, birth control, all that type of stuff, or shit. Even just use the back door if you need to. Damn. Because some of y'all have kids and then you treat them like shit and you don't want them. And then you try to pretend like you're not responsible, but you are, because you're the person who's involved in the act of sex, which created these children. You don't get to torture them and disrespect them because you don't want to have them. That's not how this shit works, man. So, says authorities said Snyder claimed her son Connor was bullied and was suicidal. Snyder's teen son, she has a teen son, who lived in the house, as well as other witnesses, refuted the claim that Connor was bullied and said he never mentioned being suicidal. Your own child refuted your report. You literally said your 8-year-old son was suicidal, and your oldest kid made it very clear that that was not the case. This is going to be an episode of Snapped very soon. This is going to be crazy. Additionally, officers say they spoke to numerous school officials, family members, and classmates and found no evidence of bullying. Man, this is crazy. So there's also this other stuff that says the children had been removed from Snyder's care in 2014, and then they returned in early 2015. CPS had been involved with the family until November 2015. This is crazy. And that's the end of the article, pretty much. But so CPS was already at the home. That means things were not going well. This lady, honestly, I hope she gets the death penalty. I don't feel bad saying it, but she's a piece of shit. And I know. And honestly, the only part I would feel bad about saying this would be because she has an older son. So this would make it to where he no longer had a mother, and I would never wish that on anybody. So for his sake, I would only want her to go to prison. But if it were only those 2 kids, I would feel like you need to suffer the same fate that you put them through. I don't feel like we should waste resources on allowing her to have free meals and free housing for the rest of her life. She should just get the death penalty immediately. It shouldn't even be a question. You lied and you said that your child was suicidal. You lied and said that he somehow convinced your youngest child to go with them. You made it seem like the youngest one was just doing the right thing by their older sibling by not letting them, be alone. And you made it so dramatic, and people reached out, and there's all these sympathies. Obviously there should be, because there's 2 young kids dying. So, that would have been expected. But to know that this is all because you were just playing games and you lied and you actually hung them up and killed them, that's just horrible. There's no way you should be able to share the same air that the rest of us breathe. It's your kids, man. You mean to tell me, you let one get all the way to 8 years old, another one to 4, and then you just decided that you were done with them? And you have an older child. Why were you still having kids when it's clear you do not like kids? One of the other articles that I read, it said that there were reports that she was getting frustrated with the kids and that she had been overheard telling somebody that she was planning to get rid of them. They had also mentioned that there's video surveillance tape of the young boy getting off the bus, and he looks like he's in a fantastic mood. That's on the afternoon that he is killed. So he had a good day at school. He literally got home, and then his mother killed him and his sister. That shit is crazy, bro. And then so there was this other thing that I saw that was also about kids. And it was about a father typing up this. And I don't know if it's real, but I'm going to read it on here because we only got a few minutes left. But I'm going to read it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on this shit, because this shit frustrates me. And it frustrates me because I am a man who really wants to be a father one day. And so I'm going to say I desperately want to have kids at some point in my life. So anytime I hear of people who are mistreating their kids or act like their kids are a burden or like they hate the shit, like those are people that I want them to face instant death. I feel like that shit's appropriate. Now I gotta find this shit, man. I gotta stop posting so much, because then when I need these fucking things, I can't find them. I know I'm using a lot of foul language today. I'm sorry about that. Here it is. I found it. So, and I'm sorry, if you have to turn it off, I can understand, because it's a little hard to hear some of this shit. But the title of this, and I'm going to say the person who posted it said, "This is the most honest post I've ever seen." The title is, "I hate my kids and resent my wife because of them." It says, "I never wanted kids, never saw myself as a family man. I now have 3 kids. They're all amazing. I hate them more than anything." That first part is hard to hear. Jesus. How can you say that your kids are so amazing, but yet you hate them? "I hate being needed. I hate the whining. I hate how they have ruined my life. I hate how I can't do the things I want to do because they exist. I also resent my wife for making me choose between losing her or having kids. She gave me an ultimatum, and I've realized I've made the wrong choice. I don't hate children in general. You don't hate children in general, but you hate your own kids? You literally hate pieces of yourself. That's crazy. I don't hate children in general. And if other people want to have kids, more power to them. But I feel like this is the biggest mistake I've ever made. The stress is so bad that I was put on 72-hour suicide watch at the hospital. I would rather kill myself than continue down this road. But I'm trapped. I had these kids. I made this terrible decision, so now I have to do my best to be an amazing dad for them. And I do my best." Oh, so since you put that part in, it negates all the rest of the stuff you said, right? Yeah, okay. Just because I hate them, it doesn't mean they... Fuck, man. Just because I hate them, it doesn't mean they deserve a shitty life. I get no good emotion from being a good father. Hearing them laugh or hearing them tell me they love me does nothing for me. If my wife and kids died in a fiery car wreck, I doubt I'd even cry. I want to leave, but they don't deserve a broken home. And by the time they're 18, the economy will probably be so collapsed that it will be normal for several generations of family to live under one roof, and I'll be trapped. Hold on, sorry. Says, I want to leave them, but I was raised better. And anytime I start to put my escape into motion, I feel guilty. Not sad, just guilty. Fuck, man. There's no name. There's nothing that identifies this guy. No way to tell if it's even real or if it's just some bullshit that somebody typed, but this is somebody I would kill. And I know that sounds super dark, but it just upsets me the way that he can say with such ease that he hates his own children. This is coming from a guy who doesn't have kids, but who wants to have kids. I'll say this, I've had my kids' names picked out since I was like 10 years old. I always wanted to be a father because I feel like my father was a shitty fucking father. No disrespect to my sister. Gabby, I love you if you're listening. I know you and your dad, our dad, I know you guys have a close relationship. I do not have that same relationship. That's okay. And I would never want her to look at how I feel in my situations with him to sway her in any other direction other than the one that she's already going. If she feels like their relationship is positive and is good, I hope that is successful and I hope that they thrive forever. But I hate my father because I feel like he was so neglectful. I would never ever want to do that to my kids. It's part of the reason why I work with kids. Even within the job, there's only so much that I can do. You know, there's no off hours contact or anything like that, but it is a big deal to me to be a positive and driving force behind all children's lives. So I can never imagine looking at any kid and being like, I hate this kid. There's no fucking way that I would ever be able to say that. So reading that today, that shit put me kind of in a foul mood because I look at it as like, here's a MF who had an opportunity to actually have children. You get that chance every day to be a part of potential greatness. And I say that because I really believe that. Like, we have a lot of kids who turn into very amazing people and do extraordinary things. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that? How is it that you're okay with performing the act of sex, but then you can openly say how bad it is and how you hate your kids and you resent your wife, even if she gave you an ultimatum? Fam, you have your choices to make. You could have been like, no, I want out. If you really feel that way, sign away your rights. Like, there are other options. I'm not saying that you have to force yourself to be involved. But I think it's corny to stay involved and then say, well, they don't deserve a broken home. The home is already broken, my nigga. You're better off leaving because in the end, if you leave now, they will be better off than being stuck with a person who has no problem openly saying that he hates them. Imagine if people find out who writes this and they notify the wife. And then at some point in time, she has to notify the kids. Well, why doesn't daddy want to see me? Imagine having to be that honest and being like, well, I ain't gonna lie to you, fam. Your dad actually hates you. And that's not even an exaggeration. See this letter that was posted on Facebook and floating around for 15 years before we had this fucking conversation. Even when I was reading it, it started to make me wonder. I wonder how often, or if ever, and I'm guarantee you it's likely to have been said because of things that my dad has said to me before, but I wonder if my dad has ever uttered the words that he hated me. And if so, I would want to know, what would be your reason for hating me? Or any child. What would be a father's reason for hating a child? Child has done nothing to you. That child didn't ruin your life. Your dick ruined your life, my nigga. The child didn't do nothing to you, bro. You did that. If you didn't want to be with that woman because you don't like her, you think she's trash, you shouldn't have fucked her. Keep your dick in your pants. You won't have these fucking problems. But to say that your kids, that you hate them, that you feel this horrible way towards them, is so pathetic. So anybody who's listening to my show, if you have kids and you disrespect your kids, well, I hope you step on a rusty nail. And I hope that shit gets infected too, because your kids deserve better. But that, my friends, is the end of our show for this evening. Thank you for tuning in to the Memecle Jackson Show. I will be back this Thursday, December 5th from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, man. We're on TrackTalkRadio.com live, 2 shows a week. And there's video up on my YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, type in Memecle Jackson. The channel will come up. Like and subscribe. Provide your feedback. If you feel some type of way about anything that I've said tonight, feel free to reach out to me. That's what this is for. To create dialogue, to have fun, have good conversations. I'm sorry for the ending of the show. It's kind of deep, and yeah, it probably was very upsetting. But hey, we're not only here to crack jokes. We want to talk about the serious stuff too. Hey, listen, man. I know sometimes dealing with the kids is hard, and I know people have stresses that I probably would never be able to comprehend or I know nothing about. But if you really are feeling that stress to where you're letting kids pull you out of your character, go seek help. Don't mistreat them. They deserve better than that. You can avoid and spare yourself a lifetime of pain and agony by not having your kids talk to you if you fix that shit now. Fix yourself now. A word of advice to my former father. You should have fixed yourself way back in the day and actually taken care of your kids a little bit better, my nigga. I wish you the best. I will see you guys on Thursday, man. We about to close out with this song. Oh, listen, I posted this earlier. All you weirdos on Facebook, stop calling me. I do not know you. I do not want to talk to you. Leave a comment. Send a DM if needed, but stop calling me. It's annoying. We out, man. It's the Memeco Jackson Show. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Man, enjoy this music. Hope you have a good Wednesday. Suck it. It's over, man. We out of here. I will see you guys on Thursday. It's time to go eat. I'm out.